you listening to this episode again, this episode 7 of this series about objective truth. And today, I really want to talk about the commonality of the human experience. And to begin with, I just want to say I don't have any major in history or anything like that. I've taught some history, but this is just from my perspective. So hopefully it can be worth something, but that's what it is. And I want to kind of draw from the previous episodes how we talked about the individual experiences and also the imprints that mankind has left on this earth and in our society or in history. And I really want to discuss the commonality of our human experience as we did in the previous episode, because history has collected past encounters. And today we have really close access to the field of, what do you say? How can you say it? This phenomenon called life. The human experience is our common meeting with or encounter with life and also pursuit of meaning. And the collection of our common stories and what we have met as humanity gives us the ability to check the validity of claims that has been made before us and perhaps are even made today. And we get a chance to test them. Today, we have something called big data. And that's how the big tech and corporations have all these data on everything and everybody. And history is kind of big data of humanity. And again, we find, like I said earlier, that this interconnectedness that we have today in our society has kind of woven us together. And we have like million pieces of the world's puzzle that needs to be put back together or put together. And therefore, we have a great opportunity to discover findings of whatever we're searching for today. Because there's a mass of written literature and history that has been collected over time. Today we have this access to it. So we have this great opportunity. And I just want to say, if we succumb to limiting the collected data that kind of goes against our experienced understanding, for example, what we were brought up in, what we were taught, then we have the ability to lose objectivity. We also could probably lose the mark of our original intended purpose in pursuing meaning or wanting truth or desiring to understand what's going on in this life. So therefore, the value of going through big data also in history is immense. And that is where I believe the positive sides of what we've had in the past periods of postmodern theory and perspectives, that here these theories can help us, because where prejudice is allowed to belong, it can really injure the quality of objectivity. And by that also, our worldview becomes harmed and, of course, limited. So today, where it is value to lift up other voices and other claims and other cultures' history, and and value them and weigh them up to the history that we or you were taught and brought up with. That is really a way that we can be we can acknowledge that we only have our perspectives. And so where prejudice is allowed to belong, for example, it can really injure us. And where past wounds or hurt, they have the ability to distort our acceptance for what we are finding. So we find help in aligning it with the common encounters recorded in all history. And we have to admit that many truth claims have been risen up in history and have gained acceptance of the majority, probably. The reasons are several today, all from the power of influence to the limits of understandings of times that have gone. The focus of cultures have changed over time, and values and what's important, it has just varied. Societies have put deep meaning to their claimed truths, and that has pushed a meaning in a certain way or in a path, and ideologies have been risen up, and not all ideologies are true, but they are forceful, they have power. And religions have implemented beliefs on the people about how they should value life, what has value, and we could go on a lot in that way, but nevertheless, truth itself was really never affected by these shiftings and changes in culture and time and ideologies and beliefs. But we have to acknowledge that our perspectives, they were affected. So the collection of common experiences through time, they've just varied. They've changed. But what they have encountered has always been this life that we all have, this common life experience that we have. So how history was written, of course, was influenced by their values. The collection of human experience through history and all collected data expresses really different worldviews. But the building blocks that they had to work with, they were always the same. So to uphold objective truth, there's always this element of perspectival meaning that we need to acknowledge. As we previously have discussed or talked about, to have objectivity, the encounters must therefore stand for themselves. When we testify of what we encounter, for example, at a court, what we saw, what we heard, what we smelled or felt, what we tasted. So when these encounters occur, it then has the possibility to be compared with the encounters others have had. So now human experience is not all positivistic, of course. It cannot all be measured and controlled as it can be with natural science, that you observe, you write the actions and what they do, and that brings meaning. But to observe from the outside alone doesn't give sufficient answers. History is really encounters of the world translated to experiences. So you cannot analyze from the outer precision alone, because there is an instrument of understanding that lies within humanity, with the individual. And this instrument is not something you can observe from the outside. It is our actions, perhaps, that show what lies within. That is why comparable transparency, or the value of transparency that I've spoken a lot about, is really what gives weight to claims. As we write down and speak out what we encounter, it can then be easier measured and analyzed by others. And the instrument that we all have, that's what I want to go further into this next episode that will come. So I hope what I talked about today made sense for you. This will be a little shorter episode, but at the same time, I just want to thank you all for listening. And if you have thoughts that come up that you want to share with me, just send me a note, write an email or something like that. And as I said in the beginning of this episode, I really can't say that I'm an expert in history, but these are just thoughts that have risen from when I learned. These are thoughts that came to me, and I just want to share them. So thank you again for listening, and I hope that you have an awesome day. All right, goodbye.